Episode 3. Benoit Mandelbrot was not a financial economist. He was not, strictly speaking, anything that had a comfortable academic category. Born in Warsaw in 1924, shaped by war and displacement, educated in the French Grandes Écoles, eventually landing at IBM's research division in New York, because IBM, unlike most universities, would let him follow his curiosity wherever it led. In 1963, it led him to cotton prices. Of all the things a mathematician with a mind like his might have studied, he looked at commodity price data. What he found there would take the financial world 40 years to fully reckon with. The story begins in Paris in 1900. A young mathematician named Louis Bachelier submitted a doctoral thesis at the Sorbonne, Théorie de la spéculation, modeling the price movements of the Paris Bourse using what we now call Brownian motion. The options pricing models that would generate billions for Wall Street in the 1970s were built directly on Bachelier's 1900 foundation. He received none of the credit, none of the money, none of the recognition. Both men were right, both men were too early, both men paid a personal price for it. Financial mathematics has a long tradition of rewarding comfort over correctness. In any case, Bachelier's framework, brilliant as it was, carried an assumption that would prove fatally flawed. Price changes, he assumed, follow a bell curve, the normal distribution. It was mathematically convenient. It made the equations tractable. It allowed entire theoretical structures to be built. There was only one problem. It was wrong. The bell curve says that a move of 5 standard deviations, a really large price change, should happen roughly once every 14,000 years. The 1987 crash was, under the Gaussian model, not merely unlikely. It was mathematically impossible. It happened anyway. Mandelbrot looked at the cotton price data and saw this immediately. The tails of the distribution were far, far fatter than any bell curve predicted. Extreme events were the nature of the thing. Mandelbrot identified 2 distinct ways that markets deviate from the comfortable fiction. The first he called the Noah effect. In the Bible, Noah's flood didn't arrive gradually. It came all at once, catastrophically. Markets do the same thing. Prices don't always walk from one level to another. They jump. The market closes at one price. It opens the next morning at a completely different one. It assumes a world where you can always get out. The Noah effect says, sometimes you cannot. The second deviation Mandelbrot called the Joseph effect. In the Bible, Joseph interpreted Pharaoh's dream. 7 fat years would be followed by 7 lean years. The future would resemble the past. History would persist. In market terms, volatility clusters. Calm periods tend to be followed by calm periods. Turbulent periods tend to be followed by more turbulence. The market is not a sequence of independent coin flips. It has memory. Mandelbrot captured this with a single number, the Hurst exponent. A value of 1/2 means pure randomness, each day independent of the last. Most financial markets show a Hurst exponent meaningfully different from 1/2. They remember. Mandelbrot published his cotton price findings in 1963. The economics profession read them, and the profession, largely, looked away. Not because the mathematics was wrong, because the mathematics was inconvenient. If Mandelbrot was right, the entire edifice of modern financial theory, the bell curve, the efficient market, the pricing models, the risk management frameworks, was built on a false foundation. It was easier to call his findings an interesting curiosity and continue building. Nassim Taleb, who spent hours walking with Mandelbrot through New York in his later years, and who credits him as the most important influence on his own thinking, put it simply, the map was wrong. Everyone knew the map was wrong. They kept using the map. In 2013, Eugene Fama received the Nobel Prize in Economics. Benoit Mandelbrot had died 3 years earlier. He never received one. Mandelbrot did not just tear down. He pointed towards something real, the same mathematical structures he found in cotton prices. He found in coastlines, in trees, in the turbulent flow of fluids. Nature, he argued, is not smooth. It is rough, at every scale, in a precise and measurable way. And so are markets. A price chart looks the same whether you're looking at 1 minute, 1 hour, or 1 year. That is not a coincidence. It is a deep structural property. One that a new generation of scientists, trained not in economics but in physics, would begin to take seriously. Mandelbrot gave them the question. Next time, the people who came to answer it, and why they came from the physics department, not the economics department. It turns out that markets and turbulence have more in common than anyone in a business school was prepared to admit.